Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I'm matching with online audience also. Om Ajnanatamrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shrirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama-shloke Bhaktir-bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Giram Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum. Praying the blessings of all the devotees so that we can speak something for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord and also for the purification of our hearts and the inspiration in devotional service. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 7, verses 20 to 26. So, not planning to have a call and response for the Sanskrit verses. Daityo namna trinavarta kamsavritya pranodita chakravata swarupena jaharashinam arbhakam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada. Translation: While the child was sitting on the ground, a demon named Trinavarta, who was servant of Kamsas, came there as a whirlwind at Kamsa's instigation and very easily carried the child away into the air. Purport: Krishna's heaviness was unbearable for the child's mother, Yashoda, but when Trinavartasur came, he immediately carried the child away. This was another demonstration of Krishna's inconceivable energy. When the Trinavarta demon came, Krishna became lighter than the grass, so that the demon could carry him away. This was Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, Krishna's blissful transcendental pleasure. Text 21. Gokulam sarvamavrinvan mushnam chakshum shirenabhi irayan sumahaghora shabdhena pradishodisha. covering the whole land of Gokula with particles of dust. The demon, acting as a strong whirlwind, covered everyone's vision and began vibrating everywhere with a greatly fearful sound. Purport. Trinavattasura assumed the form of a whirlwind and covered with a dust storm the whole tract of land known as Gokula, so that no one could see even the nearest thing. मुहूर्तम् अभवद्गोष्ठं रजसा तमसावृतं सुतं यशोदा नापश्यत् तस्मिन्न्यस्तवती यतः. Translation. For a moment, the whole pasturing ground was overcast with dense darkness from the dust storm, and Mother Yashoda was unable to find her son where she had placed him. नापश्यत् कश्चनान्तमानं परं चापि विमोहित तृणावर्तनृता निःसृष्टाभिः शक्रदाभिः उपादतु. Because of the bits of sand thrown about by Trinavarta, people could not see themselves or anyone else, and thus they were illusioned and disturbed. Iti khara pavana chakrapam shuvarshe sutapadavi mabalavikshya mata atikarunyam manusmarantya shochad bhuvi patita mrita vatsaka yatha gau. Translation. Because of the dust storm stirred up by the strong whirlwind, Mother Yashoda could find no trace of her son, nor could she understand why. Thus, she fell down on the ground like a cow who has lost her calf and began to lament very pitifully. Ruditam manu nishamya tatra gopyo vrisham manutaptadiyor ashrupurna mukhya rurudur anupalabdya nandasunum pavana uparata pamshuvarshavege. Translation. When the force of the dust storm and the winds subsided, Yashoda's friends, the other gopis, approached Mother Yashoda, hearing her pitiful crying. Not seeing Krishna present, they too felt very much aggrieved and joined Mother Yashoda in crying, their eyes full of tears. Purport. This attachment of the gopis to Krishna is wonderful and transcendental. The center of all the activities of the gopis was Krishna. When Krishna was there, they were happy. When Krishna was not there, they were unhappy. Thus, when Mother Yashoda was lamenting Krishna's absence, the other ladies also began to cry. Trinavarta Shantarayo Vatya Rupadaroharan Krishnam Nabo Gantum Na Shaknod Bhurivar. Translation. Having assumed the form of a forceful whirlwind, the demon Trinavarta took Krishna very high in the sky. But when Krishna became heavier than the demon had to stop his force and could go no further. Purport. Here is a competition in yogic power between Krishna and Trinavrata Asura. By practicing mystic yoga, asuras generally attain some perfection in the eight siddhis or perfections, namely Anima, Laghima, Mahima, Prapti, Prakamya, Ishitva, Vashitva, Kama Vashayitava. But although a demon may acquire such powers to a very limited extent, he cannot compete with the mystic power of Krishna. For Krishna is Yogeshwara, the source of all mystic power. Yatra Yogeshwaro Harihi. No one can compete with Krishna. Sometimes, of course, having acquired a fragmental portion of Krishna's mystic power, asuras demonstrate their power to the foolish public and assert themselves to be God, not knowing that God is the supreme Yogeshwar. Here also we see that Trinavarta assumed the Mahima Siddhi and a- took away Krishna as if Krishna were an ordinary child. But Krishna also became a mystic Mahima Siddha. When Mother Yashoda was carrying him, he became so heavy that his mother, who was usually accustomed to carrying him, could not bear him and had to place him down on the ground. Thus, Trinavarta had been able to take Krishna away in the presence of Mother Yashoda. But when Krishna, high in the sky, assumed the Mahima Siddhi, the demon, unable to go further, was obliged to stop his force and come down according to Krishna's desire. One should not therefore compete with Krishna's mystic power. Devotees automatically have all mystic power, but they do not like to compete with Krishna. Instead, they fully surrender to Krishna, and their yogic power is demonstrated by Krishna's mercy. Devotees can show mystic yoga so powerful that a demon could not even dream of it, but they never try to demonstrate it for their personal sense gratification. Whatever they do is for the service of the Lord, and therefore they are always in a position superior to that of the demons. There are many karmis, yogis, and gyanis who artificially try to compete with Krishna, and thus ordinary foolish people who do not care to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from authorities consider some rascal yogi to be Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the present moment, there are many so-called Babas who present themselves as incarnations of God by showing some insignificant mystic wonder, and foolish people regard them as God because of lacking knowledge of Krishna. So here today, continuing with the verses that was discussed by Krishna Daya Prabhu yesterday, that we are getting to know the pastime of Trinavarta. Krishna was around literally like 6 or 7 days when Putana attacked him, or Putana came to try to kill Krishna. And Shakatasur was like around 3 months. So now Krishna is around a year, like he's 1 year old approximately. So we are just seeing in kind of growing with Krishna. So here we are seeing what is happening in Gokula. And very interestingly, so far, we have seen how the residents of Vrindavan are all in anxiety because of Krishna's presence. As usually we think, oh, when I practice spiritual life, everything should be smooth, nice, happy, peaceful. However, here, Krishna is personally present. And what is it's not that the residents of Vrindavan are not happy. Their anxiety is on a very different level. And in between these days, they're continually enjoying their association with Krishna, serving Krishna. They are in ecstasy. But externally, there are difficulties coming. Here we see Trinavarta is coming to attack Krishna. But because all these devotees are connected to Krishna, they also have to go through some anxiety. So here we see what is the situation of Mother Yashoda and the gopis. That Krishna has now been taken away by the Asura, and Mother Yashoda is not able to find Krishna. In Ananda Vrindavan Champu Kavi Karnapur also describes this pastime, how we cannot understand why would Mother Yashoda put down Krishna outside the home, wherever, when she just was unable to bear him, she just left him there and she went to attend to other things. It's very unusual of Mother Yashoda. This is not how she usually did. If at all she had to attend to, she would take him inside, put him on a cradle, make him like secure, or leave some other attendants along with him. And only then she would go to attend to some other important household activity. She would never just like that abandon Krishna and go. So the only reason that Mother Yashoda would do that is because of Yogamaya, the influence of the uh, internal energy of the Lord, the pastime potency of the Lord. Because Krishna understood there is a danger coming, there is Trinavarta coming. He needs to also like liberate Trinavarta and also stir up emotions. So in this way, for the pastime to go ahead, he has to be lifted up by Trinavarta. And it would not, and Krishna does not want Mother Yashoda to be disturbed. It's not that. Otherwise, Trinavarta can lift along with Mother Yashoda. If he can lift Krishna, he can for sure lift along with Mother Yashoda. And Krishna does not want that. So Krishna does not want Mother Yashoda to be inconvenienced to that level physically. So he understands, if I stay on the lap of Mother Yashoda, she's not going to put me away now. She does not have anything to attend to. She is not going to put me away. So what do I do? So then he has to become very, very heavy. So Mother Yashoda is unable to understand, how come my baby who has that soft limbs, a year old baby, like very soft limbs, very small fingers, very small hands, like very small baby, not like more than like a, like a person, normal, healthy adult, will never find it difficult to carry. However chubby the kid is, it's not very difficult to carry a year-old baby usually for some time. But Krishna is not chubby like an obese kid or anything. He is beautiful. He is Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. He is Sachidananda Vigraha. He is so beautiful to look at. So we can see these pastimes here. He is like even elder here in these pictures. So he's like a very sweet looking and tender baby. So how can he become heavy for a fully grown adult like Mother Yashoda to bear him? And it's not just a normal, like a difficult weight, like even in, yeah, inside. So but he becomes so heavy that she's thinking, I just can't handle anymore. So she has to just drop him wherever she was, just on the ground. So that heavy he became. And as soon as Mother Yashoda, because of the past impotency, she was bewildered, she went inside, she was attending to. And then the whirlwind is coming and she's understanding, like, why did I leave Krishna outside? Like, what is he doing? So she's rushing back. By then, Trinavarta has completely covered Vrindavan with, it is a very dark kind of a situation also, and he's like throwing dust and particles and all kinds of mud utensils and all these things, and then he's also covering them with like a dark cloud. A whirlwind is also very powerful, so stirring up that energy, creating sound, so creating a kind of a illusion also, like a kind of an anxiety in the hearts of the residents of Vrindavan. And Mother Yashoda immediately is thinking, where's Krishna? What is he doing? So, and she knows her house. So she goes wherever she left Krishna and trying to find him. And she's unable to. And here, Srila Prabhupada is writing, she's unable to find Krishna and she's not able to understand why. Like, how is it that the kid, like, because he's a 1 year old kid, he's not going to get up and run away or something. So, how is this kid, like, is not in this place where I left and I've just left before a few moments? In that anxiety, you can experience the anxiety of a mother who has just a 1 year old kid and just not, and in this kind of a difficult, like a kind of a dangerous situation, she's not able to see him. So Mother Yashoda, that's the perfection of life, so no problem. So uh, so it is, we can understand how much anxiety Mother Yashoda would be in, that his small child is not any other child, she is having Krishna, how much ecstasy she is experiencing in taking care of him in his relationship with him. And in that intense Vatsalya Rasa, she is the epitome of motherhood. She is the epitome of parental affection that anyone can possess in the whole of existence. And we can imagine like how much anxiety she would be then having, because the more she has that parental nature, the more anxiety she's going to experience for Krishna. And the immediate reaction is she's like completely like aggrieved and like she's like crying. She's pitiful. And here, some or other, the other friends of Mother Yashoda, they are like making their way to Mother Yashoda's place. And then not understanding what is happening, they understand, okay, Krishna is not there. So they're also aggrieved. They're not think there is no envy, there is no kind of competition or anything like that. They're equally loving Krishna, but they're not thinking, why only Mother Yashoda, I should be mother of Krishna. No, there is nothing like that. There's just a natural love for Krishna, that their immediate reaction is they join in the crying of Krishna, crying of Mother Yashoda for Krishna. So, which is actually perfection of their lives. So they are just they are experiencing that intense separation from Krishna, and it's only increasing. It's a level of ecstasy which normal people will never understand, because for conditioned souls, crying is unhappiness, bad, at all cost. They want to avoid it. But for in this stage of devotional perfection that these gopis and Mother Yashoda are existing, everything is actually, I won't say one because that is seen as a very bad word. Everything one is in Vaishnava circles. For them, all these emotions are actually one in the sense of bliss. It's just bliss, whether they are crying for Krishna or they're in the presence of Krishna, happy and playing with him. It's all bliss. It just takes different form. Like how we have sweets. You can like what do you call, like the barfi. You can like sugar in the form of sandesh, or you can like date balls. Most devotees are not so happy with date balls. They would prefer to like barfi and sandesh more. And you can like gulab jamun. Like it's all sweet, but it takes different forms. You may have a personal preference, but still it's all sweet. Similarly here, in the pastimes of Krishna, it's all sweet. Sometimes it's externally crying, anxiety. Sometimes it is happy, having direct interaction with Krishna. But internally, it's all actually bliss. So here, these fortunate gopis and Mother Yashoda, they're actually feeling intense separation from Krishna, anxiety for Krishna. And Krishna is going to come back for sure. He's going to deal with Trinavarta the best way that he needs to. He needs to purify Trinavarta also, because Trinavarta has a backstory. It is given in Brahma Vaivarta Puran. I have personally not read that. I have read that it is given in Brahma Vaivarta Puran, and also it is given in Garha Samhita that he was a king named Sahasraksha, and there was some mishap like what Nalakuvera and Manigriva did with Narada Muni. So similarly, he had a mishap with Durvasa Muni, and Durvasa actually cursed him that you be a demon. And when he actually repents, he says, "Don't worry, you will be touched by Krishna and delivered." So here Trinavarta is. So Krishna is so wonderful, great, amazing that he can do one act and achieve so many, like unlimited kind of things done through one act of lifting. Like Trinavarta comes as thinking, I'm the one doing this. I'm sending Trinavarta to attack. Trinavarta is thinking, I'm so great. I can kill Krishna. And here the gopis are wondering, where is Krishna? What has happened to him? Mother Yashoda is crying. Nanda Maharaj is in anxiety. All the residents of Vrindavan is in anxiety. And Krishna is like engaging in another level of pastime here. And so there's so many things happening. So it's very difficult because the scriptures only give us some details of these pastimes. Just each pastime is filled with so much nectar. The scriptures are like Shukadeva Goswami is not having all the time to elaborate them, because you can see Krishna was 6 days old, Krishna was 3 months old, Krishna is a year old. What happened between that? Every day something is happening. Every day every minute there is interactions with the devotees in Vrindavan, but it's all not given. It's all like for us to develop that eagerness to go there and really be there and see that. Now we are just given a trailer. Okay, if this is all here, this is all happening in a kind of a brief way that we are being told. But if we really want to understand what is living in Vrindavan, of course these demons are not there in the spiritual world, but don't worry, we don't directly end up in the spiritual world. We get trained in many other places where Krishna appears. So all this experience is all up for us to grab in this life. If we want, we can go to those places where Krishna is performing those pastimes now or will perform those pastimes in the future, and we can personally be in those situations and experience the bliss. So that is the goal of practicing Krishna consciousness, that it's not just something, oh, it's so remote that Krishna is experiencing, the gopis are crying, they don't know if he's going to come back. No, means this is all like, this is it's not virtual reality, this is the real reality in which a person experiences in their relationship with Krishna intense emotions of varying natures. So here Trinavarta is also, we can see, is representing false pride. Okay, before I start a completely different line of thought, anybody would like to add anything, share anything, online, in person? Yes, you may have to do the austerity of coming close to the mic. That's the cost of wanting to speak.
If we turn the screen, they can also
Yes,
see.
that's the cost of being a speaker.
We can't hear Evan. We cannot hear him.
Okay, they are not able to hear you. Can you be
I think it's Gaura Prabhu's microphone.
microphone?
Maybe he's using earphones. Maybe you could put your earphone in his ear, Gaura. Right.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay.
Evan G.
So I was thinking about when Krishna became heavy and then he had to be put down. I was thinking sometimes Krishna makes our attachments too heavy and we have to put them down. We have to let them go because he knows that they'll just carry us away, and then he himself takes care of, he destroys that demon in the form of our attachments, our anarthas. So just a quick comment. I don't know. Something.
Thank you for the prelude, because that's what I was going to speak of. No, that's fine. If at all I don't have time to complete, you kind of put it in brief. So here, so now anybody online wants to say something? Okay, in the interest of...
that point is nice, Prabhu. So it's not a virtual reality, it's real reality. So devotees are really experiencing it. Thank you. Yeah.
Krishnadeva Prabhu just said he liked the point how it's not just a virtual reality, it's the real reality. And Trinavarta here representing false pride, according to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his book Demons in Krishna Leela. He writes how he represents false pride, but it's also very specific. He writes false pride coming out of material, mundane scholarship. And it also leads to contradicting philosophies, deviations, or philosophies that take people away from Krishna, like how Trinavarta is taking away Krishna. So similarly, these philosophies which are coming out of these, the agitated minds of agitated speculative minds. So that whirlwind of speculative philosophies can take people away from Krishna, or can take Krishna away from people. So false pride is a very, very difficult or a very important, crucial thing to understand, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left only 8 verses. In one of those verses, he says, Trinadapi sunichena taroriva sahishnana amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. So kirtaniya sadahari means chanting always Hare Krishna, or Krishna's names. And only through that process, we can cleanse our heart and really experience reciprocation with Krishna and give pleasure to Krishna. Anandham buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamrita swadanam. Every step we can experience happiness, and we can give happiness to Krishna when we purify our hearts. And the main instrument in this age of Kali to achieve that purification is through chanting the holy names. So that is the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that's why he comes, and then that's what he does in distributing the holy name to everyone. And then he only leaves 8 verses. And in that, one of the most important verses he says is, how can a person actually have the ability to chant Hare Krishna? Because that's one of our principal processes. If you don't know anything, then just chant Hare Krishna. That's what Srila Prabhupada taught us. And that's how Srila Prabhupada began the movement. He didn't even tell them initiation rules. He gave them to chant. He then asked them to chant, initiated, and then put out the rules saying, if you're initiated, you should follow these rules. Because he had the faith. If someone chants Hare Krishna, everything else is going to fall in place. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is making this crucial thing. How? What will give us the ability to chant Hare Krishna? So it's not just having the ability to speak. It's not the ability to just, it's not the facility to have a mala. It's not, or a counter, or just without anything, or just like the ability to just vibrate sound. It's not just that. It does not take only that much to chant Hare Krishna. Of course, it takes only that much to begin with. But to purify our hearts, it's not just the vibration that we try to do. It's also the attitude with which it is done. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, Trinadapi Sunichena. He's saying humility, which is the other end of the spectrum from false pride. Because when there is false pride, then there is blame, there is blasphemy, there is offenses, there is blame, all these kind of negative experience. False pride is also one major reason for the world to experience depression. Because in this world there's going to be high and low always. But people are so, like, every one of us, we are like so much think ourselves, so like we hold ourselves in very high esteem, which is false pride. When low situations come in life, when difficulties come in life, we think, I don't deserve this. I'm so good, I'm so great. I don't deserve this difficulty. I don't deserve this problem. I don't need to experience these things. So because we think we are like, we don't deserve those things and they are like below our dignity to experience. So it creates a kind of a contradiction, because we hold ourselves of high esteem and the reality is we are none. We are just nothing before the material nature. And this difference in the expectations or the reality causes a depression to a lot of people. And it's a very, very real thing. In the past, people were naturally humble because they were very close to nature. When you're close to nature, when you don't have electricity, you can be too puffed up. You will be fearful. You will be dependent. You will have to align with the elements of nature, sun, moon. You are not just in control always. But electricity is something which gives that artificial sense that we can control everything to a large extent, manipulate our situations. And because of that, we feel ourselves, there's so much pride that comes from modern technological advancement. We don't understand actually, but it's a very subtle thing. So this is all playing into our attitudes in general. And so when that kind of a false pride is there due to various reasons, and the material nature is not going to change. We can only tweak it to some extent, but it will surely make us humble. The nature of the world cannot be changed. That is Dukhalayam. That's a place of misery. We can create artificial standards to experience comfort, but cannot change the ultimate reality of material nature. And while facing that, because people live in a virtual reality inside that they are very great. And the real reality of this material world is we are just nothing. We're just like this dust that Navrata is like picking up in the air. We just like get just thrown. Just one small thing, our whole lives can be changed. One organ does not work, our whole lives can be changed. If we lose our sight, if we become paralyzed, if we lose our voice, if we lose our taste, any one simple thing, one sense organ not just operating properly, our lives will be completely changed. We are actually at the mercy of so many other elements, factors in this life. But because we are so proud falsely all the time, thinking I can do this and I can do that, this bodily identification, we never understand how insignificant we are. So we can never be humble. So while chanting also, we think, I'm chanting. But actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in a bhajan so nicely how, he's saying how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, Eneche Oshadi Maya Nashibaro Lagi. I have bought this medicine of holy name to Nashibaro Lagi, to take out the, what you call, intoxication of this false pride, to take Nashi. Means to take away this false pride that is there in the heads of the conditioned souls. To take away that, I have brought this medicine. Eneche Aushadi, I have brought this medicine. And what you should do? He's Gaurang Mahaprabhu is telling everybody, Eneche Aushadi Maya Nashibaro Lagi. Okay, Krishna is not giving me the intelligence to remember that. I know that usually. Yes, thank you. So this is the help of devotees. Harinama Mahamantra. See, the main point that I was supposed to make, I forgot. Harinama Mahamantra, Lavo Tumi Magi. So you have to beg for it. You can just take the Harinam. So Mahaprabhu is saying, Harinama Mahamantra, Lavo, take the holy name, Magi. You have to beg for it. So no one will beg if they are proud. If they think, oh, it's just easily, I can just grab it. So our attitude with holy name and spiritual life is not, I'm going to grab it. It has to be begged from Krishna. So we can only attempt. But the purification, the realization has to come from Krishna. He has to award it. So Krishna consciousness is awarded. But we are just trying to show with our sadhana that I'm sincere. I'm eager to get it. So when we practice, we cannot think, oh, just because I'm chanting this much, I'm getting up at a particular time, I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that. Because I'm doing so much, I'm so great. So then we are actually defeating. So what is the counteraction for this? How do we make sure we are not falling into that? That if we are constantly in the mood of begging for what we are doing in devotional service, it's not just because I have the ability to do, I'm doing it. No, we should be actually begging. That's why deity worship and all these things have certain procedures to go through. So just directly storming into the altar, we may think I am the one who's doing this worship. There's so many procedures where we humble ourselves. So similarly, chanting is our real deity worship every day. Every single one of us have this deity of the holy name. We're trying to worship every day. So we're just not storming into chanting. Okay, just come and then take Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. No, we have to beg for the ability to chant from our spiritual master, from Srila Prabhupada, from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, exemplifying as an acharya, writes those two last beautiful lines. So, but because usually it is sung, I'm not able to just speak it. Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu Charane. Can someone help me?
Kodiya?
Yeah, Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu Charane Padya. He's falling at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing, what is he doing? He's saying, Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu Charane Padya. He's falling at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and say Hari in Mahamantra. He's saying that same Hari Mahamantra, Hari Nama mantra that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving. He says, say Hari mantra, say Hari Nama mantra, Loilo Magia means I'm taking that holy name that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving. But what is the mood? Magia, by begging. I beg Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then I'm taking this lotus feet for taking this holy name, falling at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the bhajan Jiva Jago, Jiva Jago. So here, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that Trinavarta is false pride, and he is saying how Harinam is not just Harinam, but the mood in which a devotee approaches Harinam is the counteraction for that false pride. Because this false pride is very dangerous, it can just take away all the benefits of our practicing devotional service. Because that pride just nullifies everything. Even of course, Krishna is always merciful. He still is Dina Bandhu. He understands the practicing devotees are struggling with all these anarthas. So he very mercifully, gradually purifies us. But we can make Krishna's work easier and reduce our time in that struggle if we are humble. We will eventually become humble and purified by practicing devotional service. But how quick is in our hands? If we humble ourselves consciously, then Krishna's work becomes easy and our heart becomes cleansed, and we can experience all what Mother Yashoda is experiencing, what the gopis are experiencing. We can experience it very quickly because that is our goal. We want to go there. And if we want to go there, then we have to humble ourselves. If we humble ourselves, then it becomes easy for Krishna to work on us. Let's make it easy for Krishna to work on us by voluntarily becoming humble, understanding, and by regularly reading Srimad Bhagavatam and associating with devotees. And the one important thing about false pride is because association is everything, but if we are falsely proud, we will make it a mess while associating with devotees. We'll make it a mess. And then that will create so much more difficulty for purifying our hearts. So if we want to make the job easier for us and Krishna, then we have to deal with devotees in a very humble way. So stopping at this point, I'm sorry if there is less time. There is one question here, and then we can go to devotees online. Yes. So the question is, how do we actually voluntarily become humble? Because it's so difficult to actually beg just regularly reminding ourselves through the association of devotees, reading and hearing, and understanding that I'm not really humble. And that itself takes a lot to dawn upon us, that I'm just not really humble. And that's the problem, that I'm doing everything, but it seems like it's not working. The process is still working, even though however fallen we are, Krishna is embracing us and Krishna is purifying us. Gradually it's happening. And we are coming to a level where we are even understanding I'm not humble. Because earlier, if somebody said I'm not humble, I would say, oh, what the hell? Means, what does he think of himself? I'm so humble. That's what my reaction would be. But I've come to a point where I'm listening, probably I'm not humble. So then it goes to a place where we really can, by continuing to chant, we can go to a place where we can really understand how we are nothing, we are insignificant. And the more we feel in our insignificance, it does not lead to depression, because we understand how great is Krishna. So because our insignificance is not the focus, our focus is how great is Krishna. It's a byproduct that we become insignificant, feel ourselves insignificant. The sadhana is not to feel ourselves insignificant. I don't write all around my room like how I'm insignificant. No, we want to see how great is Krishna, and the side byproduct is. And also listening about great devotees also inspires that humility naturally. Regularly listening about Vaishnavacharyas. That's also a very important way. We understand what is real devotees. I'm just like a, I don't want to say something which came to my head, a very cheap imitation. In India, there's a certain way of saying imitation things. So made in certain country, that's what we say. So we don't want to be just some kind of imitation devotee. We want to see what real devotees are, and we want to go there. So by regularly listening about great devotees also, we can inspire humility in our hearts. So praying that I can become humble in the service of Krishna and all the devotees. And Shri Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavanda ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki
Gaura
jai.
Sharan Prabhu Ki Jai. Wonderful class. Beautiful, amazing, bona fide, Shastri,
Hare Krishna.
sincere. Thank you. Okay, Shishivada Muladhara Ki Jai, Shri Gaura Chandra Ki Jai. Thank you very much, everybody. Love you all. Take pride in Krishna. Take pride in Srila Prabhupada. That's our true pride. Love you all.